Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Dungeons & Dragons 6th Edition and recovery. Alright, so this is a specific request from me to the Dungeons & Dragons 6th Edition design team, which I don't believe has been formally formed. But I am positive, this is just my recollection, just, me reading the room. I believe that Wizards of the Coast is looking at 6E, thinking about when they're going to announce 6E. 5th edition is getting long in the tooth. It's absolutely time that 6th edition start being talked about, right? I don't think it's going to be announced this year at Gen Con. I think next year or the year after they'll announce that they're working on it. It'll probably be another year or two after that when it drops. But I'm putting in my request now. I'm putting them in early, right? So this is my request to the Dungeons & Dragons Wizards of the Coast design team, who I believe the lead designer on 6th edition will be Kate Welch. She was recently hired. There's a whole lot of reasons for that. But this is my request, all right? So my request is to put into the game the idea of recovery. Long-term recovery of wounds. And then also the idea of hit points as a resource, right? So there's a whole lot of reasons why I want this, right? Right now, the entire game is structured where you get hit, you take damage, you sweep that damage away so that you can keep adventuring, right? I totally get why this is in the game, right? Because you want people to go into a dungeon. You don't want them to be cautionary. You want them to be bold, right? You want them to be able to jump into a fight, recover from that fight quickly, and have another fight, right? But the reason why I want there to be more options for hit points, options for long-term recovery in the game, there's multiple reasons for it. But one of the reasons, so I'll name one of the reasons. One of the reasons is styles of play. So I find myself frequently in Dungeons & Dragons games, I fight, and then I get knocked unconscious. This happens all the time. I make my death saves, and I'm up again. One of my other player characters comes over, they run over, they give me a healing potion, or good berry, or they bring me back up, right? Or they make essentially a first aid check. I'm rolling again fairly soon, or it's very frequent because I drop so often. A lot of players know that the Dungeon Master is not going to have the NPCs coup de grace me, so they'll just let me sit there and, miss 2-3 rounds of combat, which is completely fine because I play my characters like full out. You know what I mean? Like I'm really going at all the targets on the board, and I don't like to leave hit points on the table. I really don't. I do not want to come out of it. If I come out of a fight unscratched, right, unscathed with all my hit points, I'm ashamed of that, right? This is not the way the people I play with play. The vast majority of players are, consider each precious hit point as a precious, like it's their own blood, right? They do not want to lose hit points, right? And so I really would like there to be an option for me, to be able to continue to do this and maybe be rewarded for it. Just say it, right? So just realize that there are really people out there, not the vast majority play in the style that you're already creating, right? But there are people who are playing to lose hit points and the other thing is, the reason why I do this is that the death save is safe as houses, man. Come on, you get like 3 rolls. Right now I know if you roll a 1, that counts as 2 fails, right? But it happens all the time. And the other thing is, what's the problem if you die, right? You just roll up another character. It's super fun. It's not a problem, right? So I have a very cavalier attitude toward hit points, right? And I really want the game to embrace this style of play and not make us feel ashamed about it, but actually, give us some actual kind of recognize it as a valid piece of play. But there's one more reason, and this one's a lot more deep and a lot more personal, and that is Scotty Cranmer. So Scotty Cranmer is a BMX rider. He's a celebrity BMX rider. He rode for 9 years in the X Games. He has more X Game medals than fingers, right? It's ridiculous. He's a BMX champion, right? When he left the X Games, he started a YouTube channel. His YouTube channel now, Scotty Cranmer YouTube, has over 1 million views, and he has some of the most amazing BMX action on his YouTube channel that I've ever seen. I rode BMX when I was very young. To this day, I ride a mountain bike all around Philadelphia. My bike is called the Blue Beast. He's like my personal destrier. I love bicycling. Scotty Cranmer is important to me. BMX is important to me. And he's why I want recovery in the game. All right. Scotty Cranmer started his YouTube BMX channel, right? I found his YouTube BMX channel just 3 months ago, right? And I spent about a month watching some of the most awesome, Scotty Cranmer compilations of the stuff, of the riding he's done, him going and just doing all these, skate parks and BMX parks right there in New Jersey, close to where I live. And it was really amazing. But then I was like, wait, this is weird. And they were talking on the channel about the before and after, right? And I was like, the before and after what? Well, one day, about a year and a half ago, maybe coming up on 2 years now, Scotty Cranmer went to do a trick. This trick was nothing compared, bicycle BMX trick. It was nothing compared to his normal tricks. It was just a minor thing. He made a slip. He hit a wall, right? He was absolutely wearing a helmet. And even with the helmet, he was paralyzed, right? Absolutely, he was just paralyzed, right? It was... footage is on YouTube. I was stunned. I couldn't believe, when I saw it. I don't think it's on Scotty Cranmer's channel, but when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, it was terrifying, right? But on Scotty Cranmer's channel, after that, after the accident, he was paralyzed for 6 months. He couldn't walk, right? But then he tried real hard. He got into recovery and physical therapy, and he worked hard at it. Like, he put the same rigor into walking as he had done into being one of the best BMX riders in the entire world, right? And I was just so inspired to see him walk again, to see him slowly get back on his bicycle again. Scotty Cranmer, by his own words, will absolutely never ride the way he did, right? And even now, he just does these small tricks that are like just a shadow of what he used to be able to do, right? But he is a champion. He is an absolute BMX champion. And, it is kind of touching to me because he now is teaching others how to ride, and he goes all over, and he just, he's up and walking, and he's a part of the BMX community, and he's becoming a commentator. He's actually an announcer at the X Games. Like, every time he walks in, he walks in onto he goes around with these proteges now to skate parks and BMX parks, just like he did. He's still doing BMX. He still has BMX on his channel. It's not him. It's the guys he's teaching, bringing them up, teaching them the exact same riding style that he learned. And he's just an absolute champion of the BMX world. And the story that's being told in his real life is amazing, right? And I would like to see this in Dungeons & Dragons. I would like to see a paladin who takes a wound that can't be swept away in a short rest or a long rest. And then he has to come back up through... It's hard for me because I really feel for Scotty Cranmer, and actually not for what he lost, but how much he's giving now. It's incredible. And he's telling a story in his life that I would like to see told in Dungeons & Dragons, right? I want to see a paladin who has a wound that takes a year in game time to actually heal. And I want there to be stories about how that recovery affects that person personally, and how that paladin's recovery, or it could be a rogue, or it could be, a wizard, how their recovery affects the lives around them, right? And we don't have that in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition right now, and that's okay. That's okay. Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition is amazing. But we have an opportunity to have it in 6th edition. We can make recovery part of the game. And if you look at what's going on with Scotty Cranmer now, and you see a champion on the bike, a broken man, and then a champion off the bike, I think you're going to agree that these stories should be in Dungeons & Dragons as well, and we should have the opportunity to tell the same stories in our fiction that Scotty Cranmer is showing right now in real life. Thank you.